team?
What is up?
Yeah, all right. How's our audio? How's everybody?
Your audio sounds a little funky, just FYI.
Uh,
It sounds like you're a little far away.
yeah, is that
that's
better?
better. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah, I forgot. My microphone got pushed out of the way, so
I
you're
do
right.
the same thing, man. I always do that.
Okay. How's everyone doing? Let me throw this up. I gotta share my screen. While I get ready, I think you saw an amazing TV this morning. What did you see that you want to share with us? This is something that I haven't seen before and I haven't heard much of. Tell us about what you saw this morning, Brandon.
I saw the QN800A. So it's my first time seeing it. I mean, I've seen it at like the store before, but I haven't seen it in a house. And so I got to help one of my buddies install it. It's at this ridiculous house. I'll show you. I'm going to show you my thumbnail for that video because I'm going to launch this video on next Saturday.
Okay.
But install it. Yeah. It's at this ridiculous house. Whoops. I'll show you. Sorry. I'm going to show you my thumbnail for that video because I'm going to launch it.
That happens to me all the time.
Every time, man. Every time.
Every time.
So, anyways, what's up, Michael Wyckoff? What's up, everybody? What's up, Nick Jarrett? Let's see, Casey Swagger. I know. I love you, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's retiring. Tom Brady.
Is he retiring? I missed that news. When did that come out? This morning?
Yeah, he just announced it like 15 minutes ago. It came out. Adam Shefty with the news that he's retiring.
Oh, man. I think he could have gotten another one in Tampa Bay, too.
Well, here's the thing. I think this is the reason why.
Okay.
Antonio Brown off the team. Chris Godwin, the best receiver. He has an ACL tear. Won't be back until like mid-season next year.
Okay.
Gronk wanted to retire. They had one. He got one at Tampa Bay. They didn't get it this year. He's not getting younger. If they couldn't get it this year, it's going to be tough to get it next year. A lot of guys. I think that's it. That's why, and I think Giselle was on him, but she's going to take all the grief, man. He's going to have to. That's why he was saying, it's not Giselle because it sucks, man. Anyway.
She's like the Yoko Ono of the NFL.
I mean, not really, dude. She's been there. She's been
very supportive.
They have like grown kids, man. She's been doing her thing because they got kids that are like teenagers. So like they're,
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then I want to tell you something I haven't told you. I'm gonna get a new setup behind me. If you look here, I'm gonna have, instead of a TV, I'm gonna have like lighting going all the way up and over the top of my studio here. We're putting in like wood paneling, like kind of like in a theater room behind the TVs. So that way, if you put any TV under 8 feet wide in there, it'll be like, it's going to be nice and like framed in this room.
And you're going to make it all colorful and stuff, all fancy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go like over the top with the LEDs. I'm just going to put some nice, clean LED like strips going up and over the top. They're going to be like behind, like, some of that shaded glass kind of thing where, so you can see it, but should be cool. So I'm excited for that. But right now I got nothing. It's just like a brown background. So
well, better than me. I'm still waiting for my other room to finish. So I'm kind of in the studio right now.
Yeah.
And so it's like a makeshift, turning part of the studio into a live stream. So it's all like kind of purplish in the back. I feel like Gerald and Dunn here.
There you go. You can see your orange light on the right. No, I'm just kidding.
That's all I'm missing. Just a real quick update on the prices. So last week we started getting some discounts. We're seeing Black Friday prices again. So we're back to what a lot of the prices we saw in late October, November, right? Not necessarily the best you'll ever see this year, but it's starting. So now comes the question, should you get it now? Should you wait? What about 2022? So one thing I have to remind a lot of people is there are some models that will sell out before it even gets to Prime Day. So I believe that the QN90A or just the 9 series from Samsung, generally their best flagship 4K TVs, the larger sizes are always the first to go. They don't even last through the spring, something to keep in mind. So if you do see a good price, an attractive price for the QN90A at any size, just go for it. And just to give you what my target price is, if you can, QN90 at 1700, I think I saw that once, right? In late October. It was brief. If you see it again, it'll probably be sold out at that price, but more likely than not, it'll drop to 1900. I think it's 1900 right now or close to that, and then 18. And then I don't know if it'll make it to 17. But the other TVs, in this price point, the X95J, the C1, and the Sony A80J, right? I don't think they'll go any lower than 1700. So somewhere between 2000 and 1700 and 65-inch size, it's not bad. That's actually a pretty good price. Any lower, and you risk it selling out. And same with the 75-inch size. I think the X95J is a bit overpriced, still at 2300, but not a lot. I think it'll get down to 2200. But the X95J is where it should have been late in the year, so they are there now at the 75-inch size. The QN90A, I don't think it'll get much lower than 2500 before selling out. The OLED at 2800 is probably going to stay there for a while, maybe until Prime Day. It may drop to 2700. So that's just something to think about. But what size TV did you see, Brandon, on the QN800?
Today?
Yeah.
It was the 75-inch. So I
There
was
you
looking at that
go.
up at 3000. And here's what I would say about that.
Uh-huh.
You know, the QN90A would not have worked for the client that we did an install for, because they had it flush against a tile fireplace. So the guy had just a hole in it for the one wire, and it went straight through the wall to the other side and was connected to the one connect box. So it was a perfect setup. And this guy, why he chose the 800A is, I believe, like a lot of customers, they may just not want to pay for like the top TV, you know, like it's like 4,500 for the QN900A and it's only 3,000 for the QN800A. I'd have to say the dirty screen effect was not too bad. It was pretty faint. And then I just thought it just looked really good. It was good. I think that it's not performing as good as the QN90A, right? I don't think it performed quite as well, but I think it was a good choice for this customer. And it was a very clean silver bezel. It looked, you know, awesome. I'll have to show some pictures here in a minute.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point that I keep on forgetting. For a lot of clients, that one connect box is important, right?
Yeah.
Like I enjoy it. I have the Q90R with the one connect box. I love how it's a little bit lighter with it and it's very flush. So definitely people out there who are looking for a one connect box 2021 Samsung, you either have to go with the frame or one of the 8K models, right? The QN800 or 900. So yeah, that's true. And a couple $100 may be worth it just for that lifestyle fixture, you know? And let's see. Oh, the QN85A, now that it's starting to drop in price, the ADS panel doesn't become much of an issue in the sense that it's a value. It's super bright. It's not great off angle. It's got some blooming issues compared to the QN90A, but it's punchy, it's bright, it's got Tizen. I prefer Tizen over some of the other competing OSs out there. I prefer it over Roku. I prefer it over Google TV, but this is very much taste. So that's something if you guys are thinking about it. In the 75-inch size, I think the X90J currently is 1600. That's what we saw Black Friday. It'll probably drop down to 1500. I don't think the TCL 6 series will go much below 1300 before it just sells out and that's it. It's gone because the 6 series and the 8 series from Hisense last year was priced pretty competitively from the get-go. There's not much room for it to go, right? So if you see it in stock again, go for it. Don't wait for the 2021 6 series to drop much beyond 1300 if that's what you're looking at. And if you want an inexpensive value at a 75-inch under 1,000, these three, the Hisense, Sony, and TCL 5 series, X80J, and U7G. But keep in mind, the Sony and the Hisense, both are IPS panels. So between the two, the Sony should have better picture quality. Well, it does in terms of color accuracy. And the TCL 5 series, however, even though it's only a 60 hertz panel like the 80J, the 5 series, I think, gives you a VA contrast, deeper blacks. Maybe the 5 series might be better for some. So that's a good selection for under $1,000 at the 75-inch right now. 85-inch, I think the X95J is still overpriced. I mean, it's crazy. It's 3,500 still. It's going to be a while before that drops. They're very persistent in keeping that priced above the QN90A. The QN85A ends up being the best deal here. If you can get it for 3,000 or less, I don't know how long that'll stay in stock. If you're waiting for it to go below 2,900, yes, there were a few days where it went down to 2,600 in October. I don't know if that's going to happen again, but it was very brief. So if it ever goes to 26, you better snatch it because I don't think it'll stay in stock for long at any price close to 2,600. And I think the $1,800 for a Sony X85J isn't bad at all. It's a VA panel and it's a 4K 120 hertz. There's no dimming zones, but you're getting Sony colors, you're getting the Sony motion. So at 1,800, that's the only 85-inch value TV I could recommend. You can get the Samsung, I think the 9000 series for 16 or 1700, but it's so close to the Sony. I'd go with the Sony in that case now that they've dropped their price. All right. So look, we've got some super chats here. Let's get caught up.
Hey, also hit the like button if you can, guys, real quick. It'd be awesome. You guys, we got all of our links and everything in, so everyone's getting the notifications. But definitely smash the like button. It keeps pushing it out. See if we can get over 100 real quick. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you all. And I think this is our first super chat, right? Hey, Samaya Goel. Hey, 7.1.2 soundbar versus 5.1.2 for a small room. Worth it? The difference between a 7 and a 5 isn't a big deal. What is a big deal is that 0.1. How big is that subwoofer? And the 0.2. How big are the surrounds? We've been getting complaints that there are some really inexpensive independent surrounds that are barely loud enough. I would say, I think the cheapest Samsung with a 0.2, you try to blast it, you can barely hear it still. So make sure you get a surround that's loud enough for your room. Even a small room may not be loud enough. The 0.1 also, the subwoofer, you want it to be strong enough. So ignore the 7. Look at the 0.1 and the 0.2. That's where the ratings reviews makes a big difference. Go to ratings and check out how they ranked that subwoofer, as well as those satellites, right? I don't think there is any difference at all on the 7 and the 5 because they're all placed under the TV. You're still going to get that center channel blast in front of you. It's just a matter of the 0.1 and the 0.2. So the answer is not worth it unless the subwoofer is larger or louder and the 0.2 is also larger or louder. That's what you're looking at. Thank you for that question.
I'd rather have a 5.1.4 is what I'd rather have. Have
that'd
4
be
upward
nice.
firing, because then you have upward firing in the front and upward firing in the back. That's why I hope that they do like a Sonos Arc with the rear surrounds having upward firing sound. I mean, it still probably isn't going to be significant, but it would be better to have some more upward firing behind you, you know?
That's basically the HT-A9, right?
I mean, in theory, I got to put mine in a smaller room because in my big room, I love it, but I get nothing above me because the 20-foot vaulted ceilings, you know?
I think we want to jump into this real quick because we were just talking about this, the QN800A.
Yeah, let me show some pictures.
Is it good? Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
Let me add them on here real quick. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Oh man, I don't have a screen up. There we go. We'll go that one. All right, if I pick the, let me see if I pick the pictures. Does it? I'm not even sure where I saved them. You know how that goes. Give me 1 second. Maybe answer one more question.
All right. Let's jump into the next one.
You know how this goes. I'm like trying to find these.
I hear it's like Siberia, all in the upper eastern seaboard, right? Connecticut.
Oh, dude, it's crazy,
right?
Yeah, my buddy's like saying they're getting crushed.
Are we glad the Super Bowl is going to be in LA? Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, except this could be the second year in a row that the home team is in the Super Bowl. Tampa Bay last year, and the Rams.
How did the Rams
make it? Right? Although this weekend they said that there's more 49er fans that are going to be there than Rams fans.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Like over 60% 49er fans have gotten tickets so far.
Well, the Rams fan. Well, I mean, they were the Chargers, and then they became the Rams. They don't have that history. Yes. You're trying to go back 20 years to? It's just I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a mess. Okay. Thank you for the super chat, Jerry. A 65-inch A90J or the 77-inch A80J, either for the same sale price. Please help you decide. I'd go with the 77-inch A80J, mostly because where the A90J is better is on maybe 5% of the content of the scene. It's very specific to certain movies you're watching. In most streaming, whether it's Netflix or whatever, you're not going to see the difference. You're going to have to choose the movies to watch in order to take advantage of the A90J. The second part with the A90J is pretty cool is it's less aggressive automatic brightness limiter, the ABL. But if you're watching movies, I don't find that as an issue. For gaming, maybe, but even then, it's not that big of a difference. But more importantly, the larger size, the 77-inch versus 65, that's such a large jump to me that the immersion you get from the jump up more than makes up for any shortcomings not having a heat sink. So go with the A80J 77-inch. Definitely. I don't think you're going to benefit from the A90J heatsink most of the time. So hopefully that helps your decision. Yeah. You got it?
I can show it now. Yeah.
Yep,
Let's show some of the QN. All right, here we go. So let's see. Can you see it?
Oh, is that you?
Do you like my thumbnail? That's going to be my thumbnail for the video. So that's the house.
Oh my gosh. Where's this?
That's the guy.
Somewhere in La Jolla?
It's actually in Mount Helix, which is a very like wealthy area, the top of the hill, in La Mesa, like right in like eastern San Diego, kind of looking across the highway from like Qualcomm Stadium, where it used to be, like up in the hill. And it's just nice place. It's a nice area. It's not La Jolla, but it's definitely nice. And then this is the inside entryway. I'm gonna have footage, but these are just quick shots. So as you can see that, like, it's pretty fancy house.
Right.
But so this is the QN800A, and you can see to the left. I mean, there's just no way you could put an OLED in this room with windows like this.
Let's pause right here. So everyone who's asking, about glare and brightness, this is what we're talking about, right? When we say an OLED cannot get bright enough, it's not just that it can't get bright enough. When you have that much side window glare, it does wash out the OLED. The OLED's fighting with that window during the day. Now, at nighttime, it's not an issue, but during the day, that could be an issue. Let me ask you this, Brandon. Did you notice the rainbow effect? Because a lot of people complain when it's coming from the side. Yep.
Well, I mean, it's such a bit. It's like, since it's such a large amount, the whole TV has a kind of a very like minimal glare. The whole screen does. You know what I mean? So like straight on, you don't notice it, but when I got further to the right here, you can notice it. But when the TV comes on, typically you don't notice it. And the anti-reflective coating in combination with the brightness of the TV just pushes through.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, if it's a small point source brightness, that rainbow becomes pretty annoying. But this, you're right. It's kind of a little bit even during the day. Very cool.
And then here's more of like a straight on shot where you can see just how intense it is brightness wise. I mean, that is an extremely bright room, and it's very bright still, and again, I don't know the nits or how it is perfectly to the QN90 or the QN900, but like other people that have already asked in the comments, like, what is this versus the Q900 or the Q850? So they're all very similar. I mean, I think the 900 has more dimming zones possibly, and it has a little bit brighter screen, I believe. That's pretty much it, though. There's not a ton. Here's that famous scene where that little like lizard scampers across the water, if you've ever seen that. I couldn't freeze it fast enough, but yeah, that's more or less. I mean, this fireplace goes up 20 some feet. So like this, I widen out and go up and look, but it's a pretty awesome looking TV, and you can see how tight that is to the wall. So an OLED wouldn't do that either. They'd have to build a recessed area, maybe the G series OLED, like the gallery series, but then you still would have had to put a power outlet behind the TV. And this is just, this is flat against the wall on those two Samsung frame type hook mounts. So not the best mount in the world, but it sits there perfectly fine. You can level it out like a picture frame, and it's not going to move. So it's a pretty well done install. The guy did a great job.
And well, you bring up another point about the G series. The G series last year doesn't have a heat sink, so it could definitely not get as bright as the QN800,
it's not
or the QN90 or the QN85, and even the X95J from Sony, right? Those were designed for these kind of rooms where, the blacks aren't perfect, but because the room is so bright, it's going to look black to you anyway. It's relative. So that's
this is that's a 75, and they had considered the 85, but I think they made the right choice. I think the 85 would have it looked pretty stupid on this wall because it would have been like to the edge. And this one is already over the size of that cool fireplace. And I think this is perfect. You couldn't have gone any bigger than this. If you go bigger than this, you'd have to have built this wider,
Yeah. And let's see. All right.
And by the way, that fireplace is awesome. Like they had it on right there. I got some close-up footage. So I'm going to try to make it this video is going to be next Saturday. It's going to be pretty cool because it's actually interesting. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Good stuff.
All right. Well,
I did a little hockey screen test and all that,
This is a great segue to the 2022 Samsungs, as we were talking about it. So, if you guys haven't caught this article, it's wonderful. Rasmus does a great job. He had an in-person, hands-on look at the Samsung 2022 TVs. So, I'm not going to steal his thunder. I just wanted to pull one aspect of his first impression I think is important and relevant to all of us, which is right here. It's very specific. So it has the same number of dimming zones, right? This is a pattern that Samsung's had, which is once they release an amazing TV in an odd year, last year 2021, in 2022 they ride the hardware specs and then fine tune it with software. So there's not a big upgrade the year following, which would be this year. So same number of dimming zones, but what they focused on, and this has been an ongoing complaint by me and by many, that although the Samsung flagship 4K and 8K are super bright, the highlights are dimmer than an OLED. And so you don't expect that, right? You hear, oh, yeah, it's a QLED, it's going to be super bright. Not so. In the small, tiny windows where, it's that little speck, the stars, anything, right? It's not as bright as an OLED. So they're focused very specifically this year on fixing that, raising that brightness. So the question is, does the QN90B succeed in that, and to what degree they succeed? Because if it ends up lifting the blacks, then you're back to where all the other TVs can do. We could make the other LCD TVs with full relocable dimming zones be bright in the highlights or brighter, but that lifts the blacks. Only the Samsung has those deep blacks, but then it kind of dims a little bit. Some people call it crushing of the highlights. So what Rasmus noticed is it actually is a little bit brighter. So there is something there, but how much brighter remains to be measured and seen. So I think this is pretty good, though. And that leads us to the other observation. He was also there in person for the Sony A95K and X95K. So great article. He gives observations on what he thinks the QD-OLED brings to the table. I have to say, I'm excited after reading that. So definitely check out the article if you haven't. But we're going to focus on the direct competitor, the X95K, and specifically one thing that he mentioned. So we know it's backlit master drive, we know it's MiniLED, and word is on the 65-inch, it'll be less than 400 zones, 384, 380, somewhere there, right? It's not going to be as much as the QN90B. But his observation was the X95K, super bright, but in the specular highlights, it was so bright that the blooming, kind of a distraction. And that was the observation I had of the Hisense U8G. So Sony has time to fix this, right? I mean, this observation's out there. He wrote it up. So Sony reads it. They're like, okay. So Sony's big thing this year was they want to make sure everyone sees their specular highlights will be brighter than the Samsung, but at what cost? Because if you go that bright and you do it with blooming, that's nothing more than a Hisense U8G. I mean, well, what do you do, right?
Can I pause you right there too?
Yep.
What if that is an IPS panel? I mean,
I don't. That's.
I mean,
point.
if you
There
have
was
a
no
top,
mention.
because the QN90A doesn't do that, right? But the QN85A did that, and that distraction was because it was the IPS panel. So
That is a very
I'm
good
not
point.
saying it's definitely IPS panel. I'm just saying it concerns me when you say you have, five times the dimming zones, and now you got some blooming issues that I don't know. Who knows? Anyways,
Who knows?
continue. Continue.
No, but so that's, we don't know why, because obviously, remember, this is still what they call in the pre-production phase. They're still fine-tuning both the firmware, maybe hardware bits are not finalized, and definitely the software and the dimming algorithms are still being fine-tuned. But hopefully, before the launch, Sony catches these observations, because we're looking at this, and once the consumers get word of exactly what the issue is, Sony's going to have a hard time saying, well, we just fixed it. Out of the box, it's got to be close to very good. You can't just have it bloom like crazy out of the box and 6 months later it's fixed. It's kind of like the shine is off of the product. So Sony, the X95K, yes, it's bright, but make sure your specular highlights does not bloom in those darkest areas. The easiest thing to do, get yourself a Samsung QN90A, run a splitter, run the same scene. What do you see? And that's what you have to do, because that's what we'll be doing, right? So I think it's pretty cool that we're getting this peak by Rasmus, but more importantly, we're already seeing that when they're going with 400 dimming zones, maybe it's not enough if you're going to go that bright. Or maybe you can't avoid it, and that's why Samsung has to crush the highlight. You can't have it both ways, because if you did, you'd be in an OLED or a micro LED, right? So you also want it to be cheap too. So I think that's kind of cool. All right. And hey, guys, if you haven't clicked like, don't forget to click like. Got a super chat here from an old viewer, M. Wolde. Thank you. Has TCL fixed software issues with the 6 series? So the Google TV is more stable, but be specific exactly what software issues. Definitely the Google TV is a lot better. If you go to the user forums, people are mostly happy. There are still minor issues, but for the most part, it has less to do with the Google stability and just more to do with TCL needing to do a little bit better this and there in terms of the image processing, but that's to be expected from a 6 series. That's around $1,000, just over $1,000. So I'm pretty comfortable that the Google TV is pretty much baked now. It should be working well. As far as the rest of the stuff, let me know specifically what you're referring to. And let's see. And this is a great point. Hey, Classy, welcome. B, don't worry about the nits. So he's referring to the QN800. If it's bright enough for the room, that's all that matters. And yeah, it was bright enough, right? You saw the image quality. It was definitely bright enough for that room. Did you feel like, I gotta pump up the brightness any further when you saw it there?
No. I mean, I think it's completely fine. I just meant like in general, people start to like, they'll question whether it's worth it to get an 8K or maybe this or that. I just think that it was a perfect combination of someone wanting one of the best TVs with needing a one connect box to hide the wires, with the mount, with the thinness of that TV. It hit a lot of it hit a lot of points for a bright room. And I think they made a good choice.
Right. Agreed.
But it was definitely bright enough. I mean, they were very impressed. And SDR, they're going to watch a lot of hockey. I did that DSC test. It looked pretty decent. So yeah, I'm starting to kind of buy into these 8K models for some of the energy features / one connect box and the thin panel and all these things. More premium TV in general,
Here goes to your point. The fear that ADS or IPS type panels will be on the QN90B. So we don't know either way. But if it is on the QN90B, what's going to happen is, you might have more blooming off angle. You're not going to lose the anti-reflective is just a cheap thing for Samsung to apply to give it that extra oomph. So anti-reflective and wide viewing angle is Samsung's thing. The problem with the ADS is that it's like an IPS panel. It's going to be washed out off angle just a little bit, but the colors won't be as punchy and the blacks won't be as deep compared to a VA panel. And it's cheaper though. So that's why they're saving money when they're going ADS. I'm hoping that none of the flagship 4K TVs are using ADS/IPS panels other than LG. We know LG is married to IPS for whatever reason, but Samsung and Sony to this point have not used IPS on their flagship 4K TVs. So let's hope that stays. And this is a great comment. Rasmus, he's referring to the article. Sony denied $8,000. We're guessing higher or lower. I'm guessing lower because there is a follow-up to that as well, which is that in a tweet, he felt the way when he was there, it looked like Sony implied it will be much less than $8,000. Well, but how much less is the question. So we originally thought it'd be around between 6 and 7. Maybe it's closer to 6. So it's not going to be like 4, but it's reasonable to believe that if it's less, maybe it's 6. So 65-inch, $6,000 maybe for a QD-OLED. Is that still too much for you guys? Let me know in the comments below. But that's kind of consistent with taking the place of the 65-inch A90J, right? So, I mean, is $6,000 that much better for us? I don't know. What you guys think?
What size is that for?
65-inch.
There's no one's paying $6,000 for a TV. I mean, come on. You can get if you're going to get the QD-OLED for that price.
Or an 83-inch, right?
Yeah. I wanted to say what's up. This is Fadi, the AV King here that did the installation. He said, definitely bright enough and did great with the glare. So what's up? Welcome to the stream.
Hey, AV King.
Fellow installer in the San Diego area. So got to give him some love. Yeah. Cool.
With it. And I think that's where Samsung wins. Now, I know Sony has an anti-glare coating as well, and its larger sizes. And this year, all of its X95 K sizes from 65-inch all the way up will have anti-glare, but it's less aggressive. So a lot of people say if you don't like the rainbow effect, go with the Sony or the LG, less aggressive anti-glare. But then if you need that anti-glare, the Samsung does have the most effective coating. Hey, thanks for another super chat. Is the QN90A mini LED dimming algorithm gets nearly switched off for game mode because OLED doesn't need software to maintain blacks in game mode. So this is an issue with all local dimming TVs in that in game mode, in order to maintain that low latency, they compromise the local dimming algorithm. Whether it's completely switched off or partially switched off is a whole other discussion, but for sure, you're not going to get the same image quality. Now, you could always game in a movie mode, right? You don't have to game in game mode. Like on the Sony, if you game in other modes, it looks great, but then its latency goes through the roof. Samsung, it doesn't get as bad, but it's a compromise. We'll see if 2022 they can get game mode with enough local dimming to make it similar to your other movie modes. So yeah, but that's the truth. If you're a serious gamer that needs low latency, your local dimming algorithm will be lighter, if not off completely. Hey Hector, thanks for the super chat. Hey guys, when is the Sony HT-A9 gonna be back in stock? Well, this is unfortunately, it has more to do with manufacturing chip shortages than anything related to shipping, right? So ship containers are coming and going. It's not an issue. The question is, wherever it's being manufactured, is there a shortage of chips to manufacture the HT-A9? The HT-A9 definitely uses some sort of DSP chip. These are more advanced chips. There's a shortage of those chips out there, and that's probably why you're not going to see it in stock. Hopefully it comes in stock. We have no idea when, but the best person to ask is actually Robert Zone at Valley Electronics because he can tell you exactly when the next shipment is coming. So just give him a call and he'll tell you, hey, my allocation is gone or the next availability is whatever. He is actually very good with the dates. So Robert at Valley Electronics can tell you that. Best Buy, not so much. When it comes in stock, they just do a pop-up and it's in stock and then it's gone. So if you want to plan it out, it might be better to call a local retailer who carries it, and then they know exactly when it's coming in. And why did the price jump by 200 everywhere? Inflation. I mean, that's the problem. It's not just the HT-A9. It's everything. So here's a question for you, Brandon. Is this an investment? You could actually flip your HT-A9 for more than you bought it.
I mean, like I got a lot of requests for that. People are begging me to sell them this right now. So obviously Sony needs to step it up. And for me, it's like I really like it, but I don't think it's a perfect fit for my living room just because my center channel on my A90J is not quite strong enough to carry the room when it's connected. And it's not a good angle for me to use the phantom center. So we have a huge living room. I was thinking about just getting some towers and a center channel and doing like a 3.1 or a 5.1 just because that we don't really like surround sound in that room. I mean, obviously, listen, I love the HT-A9 and I'm going to keep it. But if I can figure out a different scenario that would just give us better like forward facing sound just straight at us, I don't really need the surround sound because it's not really giving me what it should in that giant room. So yeah, I would be, I think it's, I would sell it for what I got it for, but I got to figure that out first. So
yeah, it makes sense. And Hector, here's a suggestion also. If Robert already bought his allocations, he may have caught it before the price jump. So call him to see if you can catch the older prices. And he's still, I believe, maybe packaging it with a subwoofer for a discount. Reach out to him. At least you have some predictability in terms of pricing. Because when prices goes up, he can tell you when it goes up. So like, hey, for this allocation, I'm going to have to charge you whatever. But it makes sense because you see it everywhere. GPUs, computer parts, it doesn't matter. Prices are going up across the board. And let's see. Hey, Shadowheart. Thanks for the question. Hey guys, I love your content. FOMO, could you please say if Sony's mini LED is also a transitional tech like Samsung, as you mentioned, or is that Samsung? So for Samsung, this is the second year of their mini LED, right? Last year they introduced Neo QLED, mini LED, 800 dimming, almost 800 dimming zones on the 65-inch. Sony did not. This year is Sony's first year with mini LED. This is their latest generation LCD tech. not transitional. This is their first attempt. It should take a few years before Sony nails it. Last year, it wasn't perfect for Samsung, so they're getting it better this year. This is the first year for Sony. I expect next year to be better if there's any issues this year, because you can't expect them to get it right the first time around. But as far as transitional, we're actually in the most mature phase of LCD TVs, right? Mini LED, and then you have additional dimming zones. As far as Samsung and Sony is concerned, they're not going to work on that as much as they're going to work on the next generation of tech, QD-OLED. Well, QD-OLED, that's their next generation. So they want to bring that down in price, hopefully 5 years from now, maybe 3 years from now. But right now with LCD TVs, we don't see a lot of improvement between generations or years. Like my Q90R 2019, not that much of, not big difference from the Q90R to the QN90A, except in a few things, right? Motion is better, but the brightness and the dark levels, the black levels, very similar. So I think we're already in a mature time for LCD TVs at the flagship level. The good news is that flagship technology is starting to drift down. So you're getting very similar performance for half the price, like the U8G last year. Okay, oh, here we go. Hey, Chet, thanks for that super chat. With everything coming in 2022, should I invest? I like the word invest in a WOLED, not a gamer, into HDR and specular highlights and details. Have a dedicated pitch black movie room. So you can get a large WOLED in 2022 that you couldn't get in 2021. So in 2021, you only had the A90J, which is very expensive for the 83 inch, and the C1. Now you're getting C2, G2, and A90J comes back. So you have three to choose from in the 83 inch size, and all of them will be between 4,000 and 6,000, around there somewhere, right? So now, as an investment, in 2 years, the 83 inch is going to drop below $4,000. So if you're okay with that depreciation, get it now, because you'll get to enjoy this TV for 2 years. And 2 years from now, image quality will be pretty much the same. So it's not like that 83 inch is going to get better in 2025. It's going to look pretty much the same. QD-OLED at 83 inch is a whole different matter. Whenever that comes out, it's probably going to be over $10,000. But WOLED, it'll just get cheaper and cheaper at the larger sizes. So I definitely recommend it. I think this, for movie watching, it's just so good. And your content source is not going to take full advantage of 4,000 nits or 3,000 nits or 2,000 nits. It's mostly going to be what your OLED is capable of anyway. So I think you're solid if you get a WOLED in 2022, especially for a dark movie room, for sure. All right, let's go down here. Hey, Matthew, thanks for the super chat. Micro LED or bust in 10 years. Yeah, you guys saw that? So the 89-inch 4K TV that we saw at CES, Brandon, it's down to $80,000. That's
sweet.
Announced. Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna go get two now.
It's one decimal point away from coming into my house, right? So $80,000 for the 89-inch, and in 10 years, absolutely, I do believe it'll be under 4,000. I don't know, man.
Who even knows if we're gonna be around here in 10 years? I mean, like, we could all be dead in 10 years. Who knows? I'm gonna watch
the
TV
way
for
things
now.
are going.
I'm gonna watch TV for now for the next 10 years. So I'm gonna buy an OLED and I'm gonna buy a mini LED. So I agree, in 10 years, hopefully, but that doesn't get us anywhere. We got a lot of Super
You could do what do they call a 10-year test on your OLED to see if it gets burning in 10 years. Then it's time to replace the LED.
I'm gonna bury my OLED in a time capsule, and in 10 years we'll pull it out and compare.
And something, and I know this is semantics, but technically, mini LED is the size of the 89-inch micro LED. It's not micro enough to be called micro LED. A lot of people are arguing, saying, hey, wait a minute, it's not really micro LED, it's actually a mini LED. So yeah, it's a direct view LED that's not small enough to be micro LED. I think it's got to go even smaller to be truly micro LED. That's just for Samsung, but marketing being what it is, we all know what micro LED means now. And here we go. Thank you, Fitzy, for the super chat. Hey guys, would it be better to get the QN900A or wait for the QN900B? I say get the QN900A if you can get it on sale. The problem is I don't even see it in stock at the larger sizes. So if you can get it on discount, I highly recommend it. The 900B is the 900A with probably a little bit better processing to maybe raise the specular highlights a little bit, but we're talking less than 5% noticeable. I mean, it's not worth paying or waiting until Black Friday all over again. If you can get the QN900A at 2022 prices discounted from 2021, I say go for it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the QN900B and it's overpriced. Not going to wait for next year for the 900B to drop in price. I think it's fine. Go with the QN900A.
They have the 80, the 75 and the 65 are available. The only one that's not is
Is
the
the 85.
85.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of surprising. You got some ballers out there, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's well, maybe
go
that's
big or
why
go
because they're
home.
gone. Maybe that's why because they're gone. You know, like the 85s. I don't know. It is interesting. I think that it is kind of like that is the go-to 8K 85-inch. What
Yeah,
else is there really? You know?
absolutely. And it was what, 5,500?
Yeah, I mean, it went from 9,000 down to 5,500 at some, you know, and
Mhm.
obviously it went down in, you know, in steps, but that's a big jump. And when it was at 9K, I had no desire to buy it. When I was at 5,400 over Black Friday, we were like, I should get this. And I wish I should have, man. You
Right.
know, I should have gotten it.
And I think for a lot of these nice homes, when you're that bright, the 85-inch in that kind of room with floor to ceiling windows, you can't go with an 83-inch A90J even. I mean, you want the Q900A super bright, anti-glare, because the Sony OLEDs does not have anti-glare. Well, not to the same degree. It's almost no anti-glare. A lot of people say, well, there's some anti-glare, but essentially they don't want any coatings on that TV because they're assuming you're watching it in the dark, right? So something to keep in
Mhm.
mind. All right. Hey, thanks for doing this. You're
These
welcome. This
nuts.
the Sony X. I know that's nuts. This guy's like, I wonder if YouTube is going to give me the finger. Is the
Uh-oh.
Sony X90J a good TV? It is a good TV. The question is, what are your needs and so forth. For the price, it is now. I think the price is fine. $1,200 for the 65-inch and $1,600 for the 75-inch. That is a solid price for what you're getting. It is a good TV. I think there's no other way around it. The question is, some people want brighter. X90J is not as bright as other TVs, but it's color accurate out of the box. So yeah, if you have it, great TV. If you're planning to buy it and you're coming from a 5-year-old TV, a 6-year-old TV, you're gonna love it. No doubt about it. Oh, thanks for this insight, IRL. Pass the remote. I don't think the X95K will have an IPS panel because Sony said it'll have their X wide angle tech, which is only available on their VA TVs. Good point. So there you go. So maybe if Samsung drops the ball and uses ADS, Sony can surpass them.
Well, why is that X angle only available on that? I don't understand that. Do you know? I mean, is that typically
I
because it's only been given with the top end
VA.
TVs, which happen to be VA? That doesn't necessarily mean they couldn't put it. I mean, because the IPS panel is behind all that extra wide,
Mhm.
so they could just put it on a different TV. You know,
I
that's
think it's yeah, okay. So I think part of it is, and this could be LG's reasoning, IPS naturally gives you a wider viewing angle.
right.
So they're thinking
That's
if you're
what they
going to
say,
IPS, that's what they say, right? But
right?
then on the Samsung, off angle is terrible. So, so
So
with
it's
the
like that
Samsung,
combination of how it's backlit with that angle. Like I get that IPS and the technology of
yeah,
how the pixel structure is
yep,
supposed to give you a better wide angle, but then when you put like dimming zones behind it and then
mhm,
you light it, it doesn't
not
work
good.
like they say it. It just doesn't
No.
look as good. So it's kind of like this weird thing because even like ratings was like, no, it has good off angle, but they weren't talking about the blooming. They were talking about how much light and how much color you're getting off
Right.
angle. And that may be good or it may be better. But when you talk about then having blooming, it's like, you know, I don't know. It's just kind of hard to explain.
No, you nailed it. You nailed it. And well, so here's the thing as well is when Sony added that X wide angle to the X950G or H, a lot of people complained. It dropped the native contrast of the G, right? So the G generation of the 900 series, great contrast, rich colors. They dropped the X wide, and suddenly it's like, wait a minute, what did you do, Sony? So yeah, the X wide is not a good. It basically made it more IPS like than anything, and I think that's one of the reasons why you have to be careful, or the TV makers have to be careful with what they're planning to do because it isn't always a good thing. So I want to do this. This is a great comment. I'm going to address quick here. All right.
I wanted to say what's up quick. Rainer says hi. He's taking a break to join us from work. So what's up, dude? How's it going?
Oh, oh, I missed it. Sorry
Okay.
about that. Yeah,
We
there
were
we go.
talking about
Hey.
the QN800A. So we didn't get the 900A, but I got to see the QN800A today, and I got a video that's going to come out on that 8K TV. I like it. It looks pretty good. So stoked you could join. What's up? Thanks for the super chat. Hope work isn't going too rough. It's a Sunday, man. It's Saturday night for you. What are you working on?
I know. Seriously, man.
It's like 10 o'clock at night over there, isn't
I
it?
love
No,
I
it's
love
like
having
8,
Germany
9.
join us, and I think you joined
Hell
us in
yeah.
time for all the praise being heaped on the QN800 and 900. So, yeah, definitely a good thing.
We gotta keep our German friends in mind because
Absolutely.
if we go to war with Russia here, they might lose their heat over there in Germany.
Let's
Some crazy things going on in the world right now, man. It's
and we're
crazy.
talking TVs, right? Gotta get your
We're
mind
talking
off of it.
TVs. Yeah. As
Hey,
long as
I
there's no
got your
war.
message, Betty. Okay, this is what he's talking about. And okay, so we're gonna get to this comment after I show what the comment's about. So this is off of a tweet from Fat Panels HD. Recently, we saw a slide with a tentative launch for Europe, the A95K, Sony's QD-OLED, set to arrive in May, as far as I can recall. But things can change. We'll get confirmation launch price information later, probably in February or March. We'll get confirmation. Okay, so this is the first I've heard anywhere that we may have a launch earlier, and they're even saying as early a release date as May. So on to you, buddy. And yes, this is pretty awesome. So the release date rumor, does this change anyone's buying plans? Well, it definitely changes Robert's shootout plans. If the USA also gets the same release date, I'm pretty excited because now we get to see it head to head before you guys make a decision, assuming your pricing budget is over $4,000, right? For sure, we know it's over 4,000. How much over is another question. But if your budget for a 65-inch for the best of the best is above 4,000, it may be worth waiting to see when this thing is actually released. So good stuff. Thanks, Sonic Blue. Assuming that's what we're referring to. All right, let's go back here. Let's get caught up to all my super chats. Here we go. Hey, Gio, thanks for the super chat. C177-inch is now 2,800 pounds in the UK. Would you advise waiting for the 2022 OLEDs? Is the premium for new tech worth it? So we're talking OLEDs, new tech. The C277 could be 4,000 pounds. So think of it this way, Gio. The C277-inch is like a G177-inch. Basically, what made the G1 good last year? Pushing that panel as hard as they can without a heatsink. They're doing it this year with the C2. And how much better is that? Frankly, if you're just watching movies and streaming, probably not much. I think you should go with the C1, save some money, because unless you have certain things that you wanted to have a little bit more brightness, or is ABL an issue, right? The automatic brightness limiter. So for gamers, they might want to wait for the C2. But if you're just watching movies and streaming in a dark room, I don't think it'll make a difference. Go stick with the C1 77-inch, save yourself some money, and it's definitely not worth an extra 1,200 pounds. But you do mention 50/50 gaming. So if ABL is a concern for you with gaming, now you might have to wait to see how well the C2 addresses ABL now that it's got access to the full EVO panel of the G1, and they address ABL with that. Does it make a difference? Might be worth waiting. And the question though is, how long will the C177-inch last? Normally it will last through Prime Day. So maybe there will be some C2s that will be in for review by then, and you could wait and see. But don't wait too long past Prime Day. That's when the C or the 77-inch from the previous year starts selling out, is around Prime Day. So it may be worth waiting at least until Prime Day. Hey, Adi, thank you for the super chat. Just joining. I heard Brady's retiring. I know, right? I'm a little surprised. So, yes, I agree. The GOAT, we're never going to see, well, I don't say never, but it's amazing that, can you believe his last season, he was still setting his touchdown records. It's just crazy, this guy. When he has the support, when he has the wide receivers, he's unstoppable. And Bruce Arian is the perfect match for Tom Brady, by the way. So I think they made a great team. All right, here we go. Next up. Hey, thanks again, TechMed. Caught you again. All right, Mwolde. Budget 75-inch, X85J or R646. X85J is not as bright as the R646. X85J, perfect for SDR, perfect for, it's like a regular TV you would have seen years ago. HDR content, not a thing, right? But the R646, 75-inch, blows you away with its HDR performance. If you haven't had HDR before, this is a great TV for that. But are you willing to put up with some of the issues that maybe Google TV may have the TCL? Personally, I would recommend the R646. I had the 65-inch. I just loved it. I think it's a great HDR impact TV. The X85J, to me, it simply doesn't get bright enough. It doesn't have dimming zones at all. It's just an edge-lit TV. So I don't think it's worth it for me. But some people might love the Sony colors out of the box. R646 definitely not color accurate, but if you're okay with that, that's something that you don't have to worry about.
Hey, sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I hear you.
All right, my wife and my son, and so he's good.
Okay.
But he was at home all week, and none of us in the family got COVID, just he did. So we're like, it's so weird. Because like we have all been around him.
Wait, how about his brother? Because they're always hanging around.
So Jacoby got he had a cold last weekend, but tested negative. He at school they test him. He's never tested positive. But we were like, he's got to have COVID. He's coughing like crazy. Everyone at school has it. Test negative, test negative, test negative. Then on Monday, his brother tests positive on a home antigen test. Like within 10 seconds of me dropping it in there, he tests positive. So then we're all waiting all week to get sick, and I'm still waiting. And like we just all got tested, and we're all negative, except Aiden keeps testing positive. So then we go to school, and it's like impossible to figure out. They're trying to test him for like the antigen test, which is like not the right one. It's so complicated. Anyways, so my wife was freaking out because I sent her back to get the right test, and so that's what we were talking about, and that's where I went just now. But I saw people are talking about Tom Brady being the GOAT, and he retiring, which is all very sad news. But
it is.
But you know what would make it even better is if you guys smash the like button, because we only have like 100 likes.
Work that in.
Come on, man. Just real quick. I know it's super annoying. I appreciate you guys.
I need to click like. I think I forgot to click like.
I clicked like. I know y'all can do it.
That was it.
You can do it. You can do it.
You can do it. Thank you, guys. Yeah, click like. Was it 228 people watching? Only 104 likes. Come on, guys. Get it up. Hey, Sean, thanks for the support. Hi. Hope both of you are doing great. Best wishes always. And best wishes to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's cold in here, man. I'm freezing. It's cold in California right now. It's cold everywhere. It's not like cold like on the East Coast.
You know what? When we say it's cold in California, I know people are like mocking us, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're from Wisconsin. You're like laughing when you say that.
It doesn't, like our house. Okay, so it's like 65, but like 60 degrees here, maybe 55. But the mountain I'm out by here, when that air comes off that like hill, it is free. The air at the football game last night, all of a sudden a cold air came in from the desert, and it was just like, it was 20 degrees colder. The air was just so cold. It was like 40. We were all like freezing at the football game.
Oh, there you go. Did you guys have wind issues during any of those games? Because it was really windy yesterday or the day before, right? Did that affect?
Yeah, no, we were good. It has been windy, but not like this. -2 before the wind chill.
Oh yeah, I think he's in Ohio, right? He's in the mean streets of Ohio.
We went to Ohio for Christmas, and it was like 60 every day. We're like, come on, man. We were looking for snow in Wisconsin and Ohio, and we got neither.
Oh, they're getting it now, for sure.
Thanks, Rainer. I appreciate that too, about the sun.
Oh yeah,
he's feeling fine. He's got a little lingering cough, but he's completely fine.
Yeah, or he's going to milk it and stay home from school like most boys do.
Dude,
right?
he's already got He had 4 days off, and his brother got 3 days off because we were kind of like, well, we should quarantine him too. Yeah. But the funny thing is, the school said we didn't have to. The school said we could have sent him back to school. Think about
seriously?
That.
What?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. The school said Jacoby could have gone back because he tested negative. I don't get it. It doesn't make much sense.
What do I know? Right. We're not doctors. We're just pretending to be one.
I'm just trying to follow the rules,
Hey, Brady, thanks for this comment. So we're talking about adding the extra wide viewing angle layer. So the 950G didn't have it, the 950H had it. He has both, and he likes the color contrast on 950G better. I completely agree. Literally the same TV, except the 50H I think maybe has a better remote, but picture quality wise, they added the extra wide layer and suddenly everything just fell apart on the, I don't want to say fell apart, but it's noticeably less contrast. So not always a great thing. And they were just following Samsung. I have to say, because Samsung was marketing their extra wide angle, suddenly everyone has to do it. Guys, march to your own drum. Come on, know what your strengths are. Hey, Brandon, I'm working at a hospital for 24 hours right now. Oh my
I got
God.
you. So he's doing like the long shifts. Yeah, I got you. That makes
Man.
sense. Anybody
Hey,
working in hospitals have my respect because
oh,
the
totally.
hospitals, they've been just getting hammered the last couple of years, man.
If people haven't picked up smoking by the time they're done with their shift, they did.
Yeah.
It's stressful, man.
Well, I mean, he's from Europe. People in Europe still smoke. It's just America that people don't smoke anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah, and yeah, Asia, Europe, right?
I'm teasing though.
Hey Sean, thanks for that super chat. HD TV test latest video shows Samsung themselves showing comparison with the QN900A, QN900B. Difference HDR brightness is pretty big. So I'm assuming the specular highlights, because that's the weakness of, well, mini LEDs in
If it
general.
had a
So
weak, if it had a
if it had
weakness,
a
yeah,
weakness,
yeah,
but
if it had.
hey,
But I mean, the
everyone.
QN900A is pretty damn bright. And I'm pretty satisfied with the TV in general. Like I thought when we saw it the shootout, it was not very far behind the other TVs. I mean,
Well,
really.
speaking of the shootout, we're going to have the Z9K, the
Yeah.
900B, and I think those are the two
Is it
that
the
everyone's
OD
waiting to
zero or
see.
no?
Oh, and the OD0, right? Maybe if the TCL will
Is that
send
it?
one
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's 8K, it's 85-inch, so we'll see. Yeah, that's exciting. I hope
Yeah.
we find a way to get the TCL OD0
That's
if
for the
it's
8K
released.
you're talking about. That's like 8Ks, right?
8K, yep,
Yeah.
that's the 8K. And this time we're
4K, we
going to
don't
push.
know. We don't know for the 4Ks.
Nah,
I mean,
yeah,
who do you think? Is probably you think that the TCL 8 series would be in that or not? Probably
So
not.
the 8 series is using the same backlighting technology as the 900B, right? OD0, it's supplied by TCL to Samsung, but Samsung has the advantage in processing. So I'm thinking maybe the Samsung could be just a more polished version of the OD0, but yeah, that's my guess because I know
We don't
Samsung
and we
just
don't have
great.
like there wasn't like a value character. There wasn't like a value, right? It was like the
Yeah,
categories didn't have value. So like that
no.
wouldn't make any sense if there's a similar TV like that. Yeah. Which
Well,
is
for
why they, like the C1 wasn't in it last year. People were like
yeah,
asking questions like, why wouldn't the C1 be there or this or that or the other thing?
yep, yep. I love this comment. FOMO, do you? My response is I do. I don't know. See, hopefully, I'm saying the right thing. Am I going to get in trouble for that?
No,
Do
you're
you
good.
what?
Dude, I've been I don't know, random comment, but I've been like just completely binging on Seinfeld episodes because
Oh,
they're
I
on
love
Netflix.
that show. Yes.
Dude, man, I've been getting things have been coming back from like back in my childhood. Like I mean, just so
Oh,
much funny stuff.
that's
And if
so
you watch
funny.
those, I recommend people do it. But like as you get into like season 3, it just starts to get so much better.
It
Season
is so
3,
good.
season 4, season 5. I mean,
George
it's a
Costanza gets better and better,
Oh,
and
and
Kramer. I mean,
Kramer, like people start cheering when he enters in season
mhm.
3,
Yep,
and
yep.
and the show goes from like awkwardness about the show about nothing to like by the 3rd season, it's like timed perfectly. Like right when Kramer goes out the door, someone comes out of the bathroom or goes back, and then Kramer comes through the door. Or it's so well done. And I never remembered hearing Larry David so much. I don't know if you guys watch Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Yeah.
but I'm a big Larry David fan. I actually met him in the subway in New York, and he is in like almost every episode of Seinfeld. He's like a voice somewhere, or he's on like
Yeah.
a Greenpeace boat, like being like, it's so funny. I mean, it's great.
Super
Sorry to take
honest.
off topic, but
I just have to share my favorite Seinfeld episode is the one where he's working for the Yankees and he's got the photo switched out, so he puts his photo in. And he's like posing, or he starts drawing on the
uh,
photo for the owner of the Yankees. And I'm just like, it's just so. Oh, you gotta watch it. I just love it so much.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
let's
pretty
hit this
funny.
question. Hey B, I'm in SoCal. Earthquakes are a thing. How reliable are the feet on the 83-inch A90J? Any comments?
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't. I mean, an earthquake is either going to take you down or it's not. I can't, I think, they have these little things where you can mount it to the wall and you can just get like one of those strings and you can tie it to one of the screws in the back. And then you can make it tight, like, make it perfectly tight so that the TV can't fall forward. That would be an ideal situation. Or you can just, put a screw in the wall, put one of those on there, and then just put like a wire on the wall. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about earthquakes. I mean, if a 9.0 comes in, I think it's going to take the whole house down, let alone the TV.
I was going to say you should be more concerned that the roof is going to come down on the TV.
And on the TV
falls,
and you,
right?
the TV and you.
Hey, I forgot to catch the last part of his comment. Suddenly, the QN800A is available everywhere now. So, it just depends on the retailer. Sometimes maybe they take it off and they give a good price and put it back on. So yeah, if it's available everywhere, sounds like panel.
Sounds like my video on that next weekend is going to be well timed, and maybe I can help push some QN800. If you had to ask me right now, I would say, like, if you want basically a Q90A, but you want an 8K version and you want it in that thin, nice profile with the One Connect box, it's a good looking TV. So it is more expensive than Q90A, but I'm not trying to flip and be like a Samsung guy. People know that I'm not a big fan of dirty screen and all that. I could see the dirty screen as it was like, it wasn't very dark though. It wasn't super dark. I didn't see like really dark streaks like we've seen on some of these other TVs. It looked better than the 85-inch Q90A that I had, but you could see some dirty screen that was faint all over the screen. So it's kind of hard to decide which is, if it's better, worse, or whatever. Yeah.
So maybe you have some experience with an ADS TV. So B, the installer, my 75-inch QN90 ADS. Yeah, he wants you to know you got an ADS where he's from.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I know, right?
It makes me sad to see that like ADS after it, but I understand. Anyways,
it's 1.1 meters in height, so it's a little over 3 feet. Small kids are around 3 feet, and I see my lamps. Well, I benefit tilting the mount to change the angle so he doesn't see the lamps. Anti-glare is horrible relative to his other TVs. So what are your thoughts? Would it is that what you do? Changing the angle, tilting it a bit?
All right, where'd that go? That one? I'm sorry, I just want to look at it. Relative to previous 55F 8000. So yeah, that's because this is more aggressive of an anti-reflective panel. I think it's actually fine. I mean, you can, when you angle it down, of course it'll help with lights in the background. A meter off the ground is not that much. It's only like 3 feet. So a lot of people put their TV 3 feet off the ground. That's pretty common. I would just say turn the lights off in the background, like that. You're going to have to deal with it to some degree. Everybody does. It's worse with OLEDs to have lights on, I mean, the OLEDs can knock down it, but they're a little bit more distinct. You can see like the reflection, like a mirror-like reflection. These QN900 is supposed to knock it down, or QN90 supposed to knock it down. I don't know if that model, the ADS version, does that have the same aggressive anti-reflective coating, FOMO?
I have no idea. Which one?
Well, if it's the Q90A with the ADS, that's more like a QN80 for us. It's not like a,
it'll have the same. Yeah, the anti-glare is about the same. It's just the ADS won't have the wide angle. So, but he'll still have the anti-glare rainbow issue that he's complaining about.
If they have the QN90 there and they have the QN95, isn't the QN95 like our QN90?
Yes,
so, but all they're really off, they're just knocking off those top features, or I didn't know.
They're called, well, basically they're relabeling it. They're relabeling the QN85 as a QN90 there. Here it's called the QN85.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Hey, we got the rest of his sentence. FOMO, do you think LG will lower the price of the 83-inch to the price of the Samsung QN90A? I don't think it will drop to $3,300. Honestly, if your budget's around $3,000, the 83-inch C1 at best, I'm thinking close to $4,000. It's not going to go below $4,000, and definitely not going to go down to $3,300. It's just it's the first year of an 83-inch size. They cannot knock it down that much. But in 2 years, yeah, I see this in 2024 maybe, but not right now. So if your budget's $3,000, you're going to get a phenomenal TV with the 85-inch QN90A for around $3,000.
Hey, you know what's funny? I actually, I'm going to see that TV. Let me just take a real hot second. So I got to see this 8K today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what I'm installing on Monday?
The 900?
No, what you just said. An
Oh,
83-inch LG C1 with a Sennheiser Ambio.
cool.
So and it's going to be in a high-rise apartment. So think about that. 83-inch with the Sennheiser Ambio for a high-rise. Probably going to annoy his neighbors, man.
And does he have floor-to-ceiling windows in the high rise? I would
He
love to
does.
see.
Well, it's what's funny is this niche, it's kind of like a really wide niche, and then it has a little bit of like pillars on the side, and it's all like windows around it. So yeah, it's gonna, we'll have to
Yes,
check
check
that.
it
I
out.
mean,
Yeah,
a lot of those places will have like shades that come down
right.
in those high rises, but it's gonna be metal studs too. So it's not like the easiest install to pull off with an 83-inch TV, but should be good. It's gonna look cool. And so I'm gonna have another video on that TV and this this QN800.
Definitely video or take photos with the blinds up, full bright, and then the
Yeah,
C1 blasting and vivid. Can it break
absolutely.
through that brightness? Because a lot of people are wondering, is OLED bright enough for that use case, right? Bright room and stuff. I've been saying no. So let's see if I'm
Well, I
wrong.
mean, it's true. It probably isn't, but the thing is like I don't get to watch a ton of TV during the day where I
Right.
can't control the lighting. So if you're at work all day and you come home, or most people are like working from home now too. A lot of people like
Mhm.
downtown livers, people that are living in the
Yep.
city but so maybe he is at home a lot. So I definitely will do that. That's a good test for that for sure.
So here we have an owner of a TV in the same spirit as TechMed Richter. Sean, thanks
Yeah.
for the super chat. For 1 month, I've had the QN900A. I fully agree with B, the installer. 8K in sports, HD, Netflix. The picture upscaling to 8K is better than any 4K. That's what TechMed has been telling us all this time. He has the 85-inch QN900A, and he says, best TV ever had. Loves it. So if you guys have the money, right? No one says it isn't even classy. He was saying, yeah, if you could do it again, he might have gotten the QN900A.
I think I think it all, I think initially we were like, we heard not any better than the Q900TS or whatever.
Whatever.
But then when we saw it at the shootout, all of us were like, that's pretty damn good. I mean,
It
that's
is
pretty
very
bright. I
good.
mean, it was really bright,
Yeah.
and it
The
looked
mini
like it was
LED,
much more unleashed than the QN90,
yeah. The mini, exactly what you said. They unleashed it. They made it as bright as they could. They used all the dimming zones to their advantage. And I was impressed, no doubt about it. Hey, Nicholas, thanks for the super chat. If the X95K doesn't really impress me, which I cannot see how, are you setting yourself up for disappointment already, my friend? Then I'm just going to go with the X95J. I'll get over the blooming, still scared of OLED burn-in. Hey, the X95J, the price is right, is going to be phenomenal because it's a good
It's tough
TV,
though,
right?
man. It's tough though. Like I'm sitting here saying like, okay, if you were to recommend to someone to buy the X95J,
Mm-hmm.
let's say this summer, whenever it comes out, but you know that the X95K is going to
Yeah,
have 6 times the dimming zones.
can't do it.
And
Yeah.
it probably would improve upon its black level, or, there's some things that are kind of problematic, or the black uniformity. I kind of was like, it was a little weird. I mean, could you really recommend? Wouldn't you just be like, you should just wait? Because these guys that are seeing these panels with their pre-production or whatever, none of our opinions is like ironclad. Like I
Right,
can be wrong. I'm wrong.
right.
FOMO can be wrong.
Yep.
So I think some people would even admit that when you test a TV, the test results can be like, okay, they didn't perform well, but everyone likes the TV. So I
Mm-hmm.
just think like at this point, yeah, I think people can buy the X95J because most people that aren't in this chat right now are like not going to even know that it's last year's TV. So just buy it
Yeah.
and be happy with it.
Yep.
But if we all know we're all like snobs for the best technology, you got a new mini LED TV, I would wait for it. I mean, come on,
Mm-hmm. Worst case, hey, it's not what you expect. Unlike the Samsungs, the X95J will be around because they released it so late. It's not gonna run out of inventory. So, yeah, definitely wait for the X95K. Worst case scenario, you save some money and get yourself an X95J or maybe an X90K, which sounds like the X95J improved and relabeled as the X90K. So, no matter what, you're gonna get options for sure. Let's see.
Someone put this real quick, this comment. That's sweet. 83-inch TV in an apartment. Like McDonald's, I'm loving it. People, funny comments. Keep commenting.
Yes,
Keep hitting
keep
the
that
like
up.
button. You guys are awesome. What else do we got to do on a Saturday, right?
Yeah,
I think
no,
there's
other than
basketball
hanging
on
out with you
today.
guys.
Dude,
Yeah, I
last
saw.
weekend, by the way, last weekend was literally the best football weekend in the history of football. There will never be 4 football games that good again. There will never be.
You know,
Uh,
I really thought Brady would have pulled it off, but then not having his best receivers,
yeah.
even without his receivers, how well that team played was pretty impressive for sure.
I was sitting there. I'm a Packers fan. We lost. But before the Chiefs even played the Bills, I was already messaging my buddies saying that this is one of the best weekends I've ever seen in football. And then the Kansas City versus Bills game happened where they scored 25 points in 2 minutes and then a
Yeah,
touchdown in overtime. That was crazy. I mean, that was the best game I've ever
that
seen.
that
You know,
that is a great game. Yeah, no, I love those kind of games. Like college, that's college football, right?
dude. But I mean, like, yes, we were eating dinner, so it was like I think it was like a what time was it? It was like a 3:30 game, so it's like 6 o'clock, 6:30 here. We were sitting there, and it was like touchdown, touchdown, and then before the third one, I looked at my son. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, there's another touchdown?" And then they came back and kicked a field goal. I'm like, "Dude, this is insane!" Like, we were just sitting there in insanity. It was nuts. So, anyways.
Yep. All right, and just a quick, you're welcome to Index. Just pull the trigger on the X95J for 1444 pounds. That's about $1,600. Thanks, B, and thanks, FOMO. Keep it classy and cagey for all the valuable content. Yeah, hey, we're here for you guys. It's so much fun. Okay, I find it fun shopping for the TV. Once you buy the TV, it feels like, oh, now I gotta watch it. But looking for the TV, making the decision, talking about it, actually for me, that's kind of like the fun part. It's kind of anticlimactic once you get the TV, strangely enough. Hey, thanks for the super chat. My classmate, if you took the L9G projector, shrunk it down to a 75-inch TV, what kind of picture quality would it compare to? The TCL 635? Okay, so here's the thing with the L9G projector. It is super bright, but it cannot tone map properly. They're still working on tone mapping a laser TV. And when I say super bright, though, let's talk about the near black issues. All projectors will have near black issues. It cannot get the same deep blacks as a TV with full array local dimming. Even the U8G or the U7G will get blacker than the L9G because you cannot fully turn off that laser part. You're gonna have to have, a special screen, all these different things. But even then, you're not gonna get the same deep blacks. I can't believe I'm saying this, but as an LCD TV, LCD TVs are not known for their deep blacks, but the projectors are definitely not known. So it's good because you want the size. You never want to go with a projector for 75-inch. You're going with a projector because you're hitting 110 inches or 100 inches at an affordable price, but 120, 130. Now, no TV, even though it may look better in HDR, that large screen immersion is still better. So let's see, what will be compared to? So the picture quality to me will probably be compared to like the 5 series. It's and you guys laugh. Oh, the 5 series isn't that great. Yeah, but at 120 inches, a 5 series, yeah, all day long. And you're not going to
And then
have.
you don't have dimming
What are your
zones if you
thoughts?
don't have some. I mean, like, yeah, then you don't have dimming zones. It's
Nope.
I mean, you know what you're going to get, and you're going to get the same thing every time. And you shouldn't
Mhm.
have like dirty screen effect. There's
No,
some positives,
right,
so
right.
but I mean, I think again, this goes back to like how many people are like have the eye to see like the perfect black or, so if I think for me, I wouldn't be a big fan of a projector in general, but I am starting to like them. I mean, just to see that Hisense 8K projector was like
Mhm.
200 pounds and it was like 4 feet by 4 feet. I'm just like, dude, where is anyone going to put this thing? Like, it's crazy,
Right. Hey, am I the one freezing or is it you?
Oh, I might be freezing.
Okay, yeah, because you're frozen right now. But we'll jump
Yeah.
on the next super chat while we wait for Brandon to get his video back.
Can you hear me
Hey,
or no?
I can hear you, but you're
That's
like
weird.
this
I'm gonna
frozen
pop out. I'll pop back in.
face.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hey, Sean, thanks for the super chat. Just waiting for the QN900B. I've decided we'll not look into DSC deliberately. Smart man, that's what we always say. Don't look into the DSC deliberately. Let me push this to make it easier. Okay. Give it thumbs up, just buy it. That is as if they get their hands on it, like unlike the Q900A. So the Q900B, I don't recommend reviewing the 65-inch only because it's a compromised QN900. It's got not just less dimming zones, but it cannot be pushed as hard as the 75 and 85-inch. So normally I review TVs in the 65-inch size, but I'm finding that certain TVs you almost have to get the 75-inch or the 85-inch in order to fairly give it a review, because the 65-inch has just too much compromise for the actual technology's limit, right? So the peak of that technology is designed to be seen 75 or 85. That's why the Hisense U9H doesn't come anything smaller than the 75-inch. It's just a 75-inch. So I really would love to see the QN900B at the shootout in June. So when I get there, I'll let you guys know how it compares to the Z9K and any other 8K TV that appears for that shootout. So I'm pretty excited about how much better these TVs can get when you really unleash the brightness. And we're going to have special scenes that does take advantage of all that brightness.
Yo, I think I'm back.
Yes.
I look back.
Everything works. Everything works.
Dude, I shut down like 50 programs on my computer. I had every, you know how it is. I had Premiere open. I had like 8 million folders open. Anyways, probably froze my computer.
Here's an interesting question. Hey guys, love your content. Big question. I have been considering a new 65-inch for all content, all use, right? Mixed use, old school, whatever. And then the second half of this question is, let's see, maybe it's right. Oh, school and streaming, so everything. R464, that's the TCL 6 series, or the U8G for $1,000.
646, you mean? 646.
Yeah, 646. Yeah, so TCL R646.
What did you like? You saw those both. Which did you like better? The
I
TCL or the Hisense?
I like the TCL better because it had better control of the blooming than the U8G. The U8G was brighter, but I think at this point, there's only so much brightness that you need, and the U8G got really bright, but it made the blooming worse. The Google TV allowed me finer control of those dimming zones than the U8G. So now that the R646 has addressed some of the Google TV issues, I'd say go for the R646 TCL 6 series. If you're going for Hisense, I think the U7G ends up being the better TV. It doesn't get as bright, but it doesn't have the distracting blooming. So, but I'm sensitive to blooming issues, so that's where my response is coming from. And some people don't like the TCL's color accuracy, but between those two in particular, I go with the TCL. And that was my editor's choice anyway. Yes. And he agreed with you. Kansas City versus Bills. Games is crazy.
Was crazy.
I have to say, I love it when the defenses are gassed. Then things get fun. Yeah. That's
by the way, last night my kids' football team won 40-0. Just blew out a team. They had 3 pick sixes in the game. So that's pretty incredible for a game. It was pretty fun. Flag football, 11-year-old kids, but still
look at this.
We played the 3 best teams in the league and we beat one of them finally. So
this is the great thing about having kids is you get to see how they respond to challenges and you watch how they win, and they're little kids, right? And it's like they may not be as excited as they are now when they're adults. So it's like you get to enjoy it with them. I agree with you. Kids in sports are so awesome. So this is a great comment. Thank you for the super chat, John Yang. I've been watching other YouTubers and I don't want to cause drama. Come on, there's no drama here. I see another person saying you guys are pushing TVs that are not that good, A90J. So the A90J is just like the A80J, except it's got a heatsink. So unless you think the A80J is that good, so the A90J has its use case. Hey, go ahead.
Well, the point is he's saying that are not that good. Example, A90J. A90J was ranked the best TV of the year by like everybody. So what do you mean? If we're pushing the TVs that aren't as good?
Oh, and the pushing. Wait, the pushing. How often do you and I recommend the A80J, right?
No, but I mean, I think they're saying that we don't recommend the A90J enough. I don't know. They can clarify, John. But my point is, if it's that other guy, who cares? That other guy does videos.
Remains unnamed. I know.
He does it for the views because he can't get enough views on his own. Sometimes I don't know what the motivation is, but like if you have to put another YouTuber's name specifically in the title of your video to get views, I think that it starts to border on the lines of like, what are you trying to do with your channel? Like I wouldn't even put like Stop the FOMO's name on my videos because I want my videos to represent me, and putting his name to like try to steal some of his shine. It's not, no one really cares for me to put his name in my videos. So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I think everybody on YouTube just needs to do their thing. If you know, I think John says, you know, I trust your advice, so I appreciate that. But it's just weird for me because I don't even know how to react to that. I just think, you know, find some people that you trust and, you know, listen to them or don't listen to them and go do your own research. Yeah, that's how I look at everything.
And I think
you know?
one thing we're very good at and we're always clear is its use case. I think over and over, and that's not just us, is classy. A90J is expensive. It's a premium. I always recommend the A80J for its value, everything. And 77-inch A80J over any A90J that's smaller than that for sure. But if you have extra money and you could afford the 83-inch A90J, yeah, it's great. But rarely have I ever recommended you get that over the 77-inch A80J unless you actually have the money, because essentially they're so similar. I do love the A80J though. I think it's great, but it's not like it's so much better than the G1, right? C1, G1, A80J, A90J. They are like different angles of the same technology, but each one is designed for a different use case. So, you know, it's all good.
And
I don't think
to be
we
honest,
anything.
Yeah. And to be honest, my favorite parts about the A90J is the remote for one, and two, it's like the speakers that come out from the screen. So like the things that I like about the TV are, I mean, obviously the tiniest highlights on the A90J are better than the other TVs, like the tiniest highlights, because of the heat sink, because they're pushing it, whatever. And the upscaling is definitely better than the C1 G1, because I've seen both of them right next to each other, and I love the LG TVs, but the upscaling is just not, it's just not as good, you know, when you're backed up a little bit. And so that's it. Besides that, I mean, they're all great OLEDs. And like we said, we've even said the Vizio OLED is good if it works, man. If it's working, it looks phenomenal when it works, you know.
I would recommend the Vizio OLED all day long, like you said, if it works. But then at the price of a C1, well, then take the C1, of course, because it's not even that much of a discount.
I mean, Chana D, our guy, Techno Dad, he's a gamer, and he, you know, and I think Brian, that the A90J wasn't in their consideration. They were looking at gaming TVs, and so the C1, and I think Brian, did he get the G1 or what did he get?
Brian got both.
He got the A80J.
He got the 83-inch C1 for gaming and the 77-inch A80J. He loves them both, but each of them has their own use case.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, thank you for the super chat. Where do you think Samsung will take QD-OLED in 2022? I'm convinced, if you saw my video today, that Samsung will make it a gaming TV, because Samsung Display makes gaming monitors, and this QD-OLED is already being applied as a gaming panel for, you know, Alienware and whoever is using it for that. So Samsung knows it could separate itself from Sony if it could make this QD-OLED 144 hertz gaming, full bandwidth, FreeSync Premium Pro. I mean, just throw the kitchen sink at the gaming features on the QD-OLED, because we know Sony is focusing the QD-OLED as the perfect cinema accurate TV, as close as you're going to get to a reference monitor for under 10,000. So it's two different angles. Samsung cannot beat Sony in its own turf, right? Color accuracy, motion, but they will definitely destroy Sony on gaming features that work. So, you know, VRR, they know what the issues are, and maybe it could even beat the LG OLED, the VRR gamma flicker issue, and the near black. Maybe it gets it perfect or near perfect, better than LG. If it could do that, now it's separated itself and justifies its TV as the best gaming TV above the LG OLED, because, and I don't know yet, but if it could work on that VRR gamma flicker issue and the near black issues that OLEDs tend to have a problem with, there you have the angle that Samsung could take. So if Samsung, if you're listening, that's what you guys should do. It's not too late. All right.
Hey, I want to ask people. I got asked by Samsung in what order would I want TVs in theory. I don't know if you talked to Ian or whatever, but like I was like, okay, well, realistically, I guess the Q90A, because I'm probably not going to get the Q900. I'm sorry, B. So I said Q90B, Q900B and then frame, because I have a lot of people that want to know
Right.
what the frame looks like. So, and then I was thinking, you know, like, yeah, I can wait a little later in the season if I can keep these Samsung TVs, you know. So, but yeah, you know, it's going to be fun year. But I mean, I'm thinking I want to get a big QN900B definitely, but you know, most people want to see the main like 4K model.
And that's something that you bring up a good point is what size are these review TVs, right? Because
Mhm.
if it's 65-inch, it definitely doesn't represent the best of the QN900 series because all their dimming zones don't come into play until a 75 or 85-inch. So that's something that I'll have to ask Samsung, hey, you know, what size are you guys making that available to? Yeah,
Yeah, and
definitely.
they said I said the bigger the better, and they agreed. So there, I don't know, but I mean, obviously, if I get like an 85-inch, I could
Right.
even drive it up to you or something. We could figure
Oh,
out a
yeah,
way for
that
you
would
to
make
get
it
your eyes
easier.
on it too.
Right.
But most people can't have an 85-inch in their living room for review,
Yeah,
but we'll
absolutely.
figure it out.
Okay, let's see. I love it. People are talking about the YouTuber that will not be
Oh,
named.
lost my audio. Give me one sec.
It will not be named. Okay, let's see. So what about the TCL X11? Not in the USA. I don't know which model this is. So let us know what the USA equivalent is. We have the 6 series that's going to come out in 2022. Hopefully refresh. We're going to have the X925 Pro, which is the OD0, 85 inches only, 8K. We're going to have the 8 series. I don't know what they're going to call it outside of the USA, but it's the 8 series. And those are the new ones coming in. I'm excited about the 8 series for sure. It's a 4K, over 1,000 dimming zones, and mini LED. It's their next generation mini LED, so we'll see if it's as awesome as I'm hoping it will be.
Wait, who had stereo problems? Was it me or did
Was it me?
No,
Was it
I
you?
lost my audio for a minute. I just wonder
Oh,
if that's what they meant.
okay.
I think I probably missed you talking about the person who shouldn't be named, maybe, or something. I don't know. Is that what you were saying?
I was saying, I love how they're all talking about the person who will
Yeah,
not be named. Yeah.
yeah.
And it applies to everyone, right? We're not here to sling mud in anyone or defend ourselves. We just want to make sure that you guys get the information that fits your question. Look, we're a
No,
fan of all TVs that work.
yeah,
That's why if a
and I'd
TV
be
doesn't
honest.
work, I'm not a fan.
And to be honest, I'll be straight. Like I think that person can do their thing, and they're doing a good job of doing what they want to do on YouTube. That's all.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm no longer interested in that channel just because I got kind of sick of it. But I used to watch some of the videos. Now I'm just like, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not
Mhm.
interested. That's it is.
Yep.
You have to like earn your views and you have to earn your subscribers, and that's all there is to it, really.
Absolutely. So this is some. Well, first, if we are both going to be doing a QN90B against the X95K. So that head to head is going to be out there. I think most reviewers know this is where it's going to be at. So we're going to have a
Mhm.
lot. We're going to have a consensus at some point. So we're all looking forward to that for sure. But this is a point that I think is not going to get better in 2022. The bigger the TV size, the worse the DSC. This is an observation that I think crosses all TV makes and models. Now, with the Sony, if it's a master series, they're supposed to be binning it, meaning they are rejecting the ones with a slightly worse DSE, but that's what you're paying the 8, 9, 10 grand for the Z9K for. But outside of the 8K Z9K, all their 4Ks, none of them are master series. That means that they're not being binned for the best. So I don't know if Sony will be any better than the Samsungs or the LGs or whatever it is at the 85-inch size, but it does feel like it's getting worse and worse every year, unfortunately. Okay. C1, A80J, A9G, or A8H. I need to get rid of the H9G. It never lived up to its hype. And by the way, I like the H9G for the price,
Yeah.
but look, you're choosing OLEDs. So absolutely the OLEDs will destroy it. Look, if you can get a C or an A80J 77-inch, you're done, right? I think of the four you just listed, the 77-inch A80J is the one for what I think you listed your use case here. Let me go down real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I would just do the first two options. The second and the third and the fourth are 2 and 3-year-old TVs. So,
Yes, there you go. He
just
doesn't game.
get the new
Streaming,
ones.
upscaling movie. That's it.
Yeah.
This is
Oh, then
exactly
just get
what.
the A80J. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. I mean, or if
A80J.
you want to save some money, then get the A8H. I would say A8H over the A9G.
Did it come in the 77-inch though? I mean, I don't know if he needs a
No,
77-inch.
No,
Okay.
that's 65-55, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 77 would have to be one of the two other Sonys or the LG. But, and again, you don't have to not get you don't have to skip LG because you're not gaming. That isn't like a necessity. It still is a good TV. But I think just the Sony's just slightly better for everything but gaming.
Hey everyone, this is going to get a lot of great responses. PS5 game recommendations. Definitely Miles Morales Spider-Man. That is a must-have for the PS5. All the other stuff that might have some other consoles that also have the game as well, but I think the Sony Miles Morales Spider-Man, that's my favorite for Sony. What would you recommend Don B have or get as far as PS5 games?
I don't even play the PS5 to be honest. I don't know, man. Like I play the Nintendo Switch more than anything else.
That's my son too.
And then I play games on my phone. So I'm pretty lame. I'm such a not gamer. I still want, I mean, I asked people before, but maybe people can comment down in the comments here. I still need a really fun, like a no fail, like first-hand shooter game or something, or like Cyberpunk or whatever. Like, let me know. I mean, we have the Oculus too, so obviously it sounds like we're spoiled. I bought all this stuff to try to do videos with, but I love the Oculus, but for me to sit there in like a VR all day is not going to happen.
You're like this the whole time. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see
it's watching my kids do it is so fun. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but like my little 7-year-old will be like, he'll have them and he'll be like fighting. And then all of a sudden he'll start like dancing. He just starts dancing. And it's so adorable. I mean, kids are awesome. But watching kids with VR on is absolutely hilarious and entertaining. So much fun.
I agree.
So let me know what video. I got to get a game. Classy, everybody here. Let me know what game I need to get. I was hoping it would just be easy. Maybe the new Call of Duty. I don't know. We'll see.
You're talking about the PS5?
I don't know. PS5 or Xbox Series X or even my computer. I have a 2070, I think. Is that what my, so I have the 2070 whatever it's called, GPU. So yeah. Something.
I have to say, for fun, you nailed it. I think the Switch, you pick up and run and it's fun from the first 2 minutes. The learning curve is so low on Switch games that
it's Mario,
intuitive. Yeah, the Switch is just
Mario Kart. That's fun stuff, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have Dirt 5.
Smash Brothers.
I have Dirt 5. I get sick of Dirt 5, but I have it.
Okay, here's some suggestions. Let's see. Aliens, Fireteam Elite, Destiny, Kina Spirits, Miles Morales. So there's some suggestions for you to try.
Yeah, I'm going to keep that.
Here's a popular one. Ghosts of Tsushima. I know Brian Whisper Status loves this game for its graphics.
What's it about?
Just it's crazy. It's graphical. It's not crazy, but it's kind of like Final Fantasy type thing, I think, where it's a combination of action and fantasy, but the graphics are just beautiful. Okay.
See, I prefer, and these games, like I know some of them are like not role play, or whatever you call it. Like I don't know what to call that kind of game, but I like the games where you're actually fighting the whole time, and it can be from the
first person shooter,
or first person or side view, but like something with more action. I don't really like the games where you stop and you figure out, you do more behind the scenes stuff. I mean, hey, I don't know, like the Final Fantasy kind of games, like I'm not
right. No, I got you.
God of War.
Hey, when are you wrapping up? I want to make sure we respect your time, buddy. Because
no, it's cool. I mean, I'm good for whenever. Maybe next 10 or 15, whatever.
15 minutes. All right, everyone. We'll be on for another 15 minutes. So, if you have any questions, throw it in. Like Thomas Bloom here, looking for advice. I have a 55-inch Q90T and wondering if I should upgrade to a QN90A or wait for the Sony X95K. Well, since you're into 2022, you might as well wait for the Sony X95K for, I'd say, 2 reasons. One, Sony colors is different than the Samsung, because out of the box, the X95K will be closer to color accurate, and the Q90T out of the box, not so much. So, but the 90T does have vivid colors, so I don't know what you like. And definitely the Sony X95K Motion, I believe, will be better for movies than the 90T out of the box, because the 90T was a bit soap opera-ish. Samsung tended to have that issue in that generation and before. It's a lot better now with the QN90A. But if you like Samsung colors, the QN90A is kind of the accurate version of that. I thought the QN90A did a phenomenal job of making the colors closer to accurate out of the box. But then, what am I saying? I got it calibrated. But everyone's telling me that out of the box, QN90A is closer to accurate than it's ever been before from Samsung. But again, since we're here already, wait for the X95K reviews, because both will definitely be an upgrade over the 90T. 90T didn't have enough dimming zones. It was literally the Q8 or the Q80R at the year before, and now they're calling it 90T, so it doesn't have enough dimming zones for sure. Both the 98 and the Sony were going to have way more dimming zones than 90T, and maybe a touch, well, definitely brighter in the specular highlights without blooming issues. So yeah, both of these will be a huge upgrade for you. Let's wait and see what it brings. But the X95K is going to be a lot more expensive than Q90A. So keep that in mind. The Q90A already is dropping in price. It's under $2,000. By the time the X95K releases, the Q90A will probably be closer to $1,700 at the 65-inch. So, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for a MSRP Sony X95K, which I think will be close to $3,000 at the 65-inch on release. Something to think about, guys.
Wait, that was the one that's. So what were they saying? The 8,000? Were you talking about the A95K before?
Oh yeah, the A95K, QD-OLED. Yeah.
That I think will be expensive. Okay, I thought you guys were talking about the X95K.
No.
What?
The A95K, Sony is saying, is going to be less than 8,000, and they mean like not just a few dollars less, but maybe 1,000 to 2,000 less, maybe. So if the 65-inch at $6,000 for the QD-OLED, does that make a difference for any of you though? Because I'm thinking, well, if you got 6,000. 7,000. I mean, you're already overpaying. Let's just say 65-inch. If you're paying more than 3,000, it better be next gen, and that's what the A95K promises to be for sure.
I think that'll be primarily people that are, like I had said before, like they can only fit a 65-inch, but they have so much money that they're like, oh, what's 6K? What's 7K? It'll be like a niche. Like I can only fit this size TV there, so I want the most expensive one.
Yep. Please don't buy Hisense. Just save and go Sony and Samsung. So here's a good point I think many people need to consider. At the beginning of the year, the Hisense TV release prices are very inexpensive compared to the Sony and the Samsung. However, throughout the year, that same Hisense, you'll be lucky if it gets a $100 discount. Maybe it'll get $100, maybe $150, but that's about it. Sony and Samsung will start to drop every few months, and then by Christmas or Black Friday, it becomes very close to its street value, the Sony and the Samsung. So suddenly the Hisense doesn't offer as much of a value near the end of the year, or definitely the following year. So for those of you who are considering Sony or Samsung, being patient gets you so much of that quality. It's still a little bit more expensive than the Hisense, but definitely not twice as much. So I always recommend people wait if they can, right? So it's something to think about.
Boop and a boop. Someone said you kill me with the rich guys jokes. I don't know what that means. It's all good. I mean, hey man, I'm telling you, there are people out there that I live in California. We live in San Diego.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's two types of rich people. There are rich people that buy 7 of the cheapest TVs possible for their house. And then there are rich guys that are probably less rich, but they're like, I want literally the best TV in the world, And so that's what there is, man. I mean, most people that are rich don't get rich because they're buying super expensive stuff. Yeah. They're rich because they save money,
My favorite, I don't know if it's a joke, but my favorite observation is the wannabe rich guy who lives with his mom but drives a Porsche or an M3 or whatever, right? But he's got no expenses. So he's living with his mom, or he's living in this really tiny apartment somewhere in nowhere, right? But in the garage is this M3, M5, whatever it is. But that he works a typical job. But that's it. That's his priority. It's this amazing car that he just drives clubbing or whatever. And it's kind of like a Southern California thing. I don't know if it's like that in other states, but definitely in Southern California, you see a lot of the guys rolling in these expensive Teslas or M3s, but they're working regular jobs, living with their parents, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a good way to get ahead, man.
It's a good way to pick up girls. That's why they do it. Hey, the 100-day trial for Hisense. I absolutely agree. Make sure it's still available because I think that was the best thing Hisense could have done for its products is late, let's see, around October to November. Oh, actually, October until the end of the year. Hisense offered a 100-day trial, meaning you get the products that they have listed, and normally it's their top 3 or 4 most expensive products, and you try it out. Oh, are you getting rid of Love Face? Because suddenly I'm getting hit with Love Face. It's ridiculous.
What's that?
Love
Oh,
Face.
yeah.
We're being hit with
Sorry.
Love Face.
Got rid of it. That was funny.
That is like
the best girls in the world. I mean, that's a bold statement to say the best girls in the world. Like, and on what, and how are we saying, like, what are we basing this on? Like, is it the best, the nicest, or the most beautiful? You know, like, I don't know.
How about reverse psychology? The worst girls in the world. Come on by.
Yeah, don't look here. I think it's funny on like Instagram or House of Highlights. There'll be like a girl with like a big booty in the picture, and they'll be like, "Oh, I totally agree." They're like making a comment about like the sports thing, but the only point is to get you to click on their thing, and there'll be like 8,000 people liking it, and it's like, dude, you know that's fake, right?
I think this comment kind of combines both the best girls in the world and my comment about the guy with M3. They might pick up the girl, but you don't know where to take them. Right? Can't take them back to mom. Or wait, maybe this next generation, the girl expects to be taken back, and it's the mom. Shh, be quiet. We're gonna go upstairs, and gonna be quiet. Craziness. I love this generation. It's just so unexpected. Hey, what was the best movie of 2021 for you? I have to say Jojo Rabbit. For me, it was Jojo Rabbit. Story.
Was it in 2021? I thought that was like 2020.
Was it 2020?
I don't know, but I think it won. I think it already won awards in 2020.
Okay, so 2021, what would it be? Because the whole
I have mine, but I don't want to say. Well, I think Dune was my favorite movie.
Oh yeah, there you go. That was.
I think Dune was awesome. Probably just overall like epicness. I think that the Spider-Man, I don't know if that's 2022, but Spider-Man was pretty good too.
Yeah, that's 2022.
I don't think it was as good. I don't. Well, we watched it.
You're right, 2021. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I thought that the Dune was better. Free Guy is good. Yeah, Free Guy was great. One of the best. I haven't seen the Bond movie.
Definitely.
But overall, like, it's hard for me. Like, okay, so I'll just real quick give my opinion. I saw like the Blade Runner 2049, which I thought was real epic, but it wasn't as good as I'd hoped it would be. Maybe a little more action, whatever. But like Dune wasn't even that action packed. But it was just very epic, and I just was like, wow, this is a really cool movie. And I was like, I was like interested the whole time. And then I found out there's going to be like 2 more, and I was pissed because it was like, oh man, I didn't know there was going to be a part 2 to this. But anyways, that's me. Yeah.
So
what about you?
When you said Spider-Man, I was like, oh, I forgot about Spider-Man. That one, the story, and the surprise appearances by we're not going to spoiler, right? That I think drew me into it personally. Dune was, like you said, epic, but Spider-Man was like, wow. So
the only thing about Spider-Man, I don't want to ruin it. I'm not going to, is I think that they spent a little bit too much time with like the crybaby phase about each of their pasts. Kind of, I don't, like there was like this, it was like this weird, I felt like they could have done more time with more action. I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not their movie maker. I'm not their editor, but I'm just saying it was good. And I thought like, I don't know if you guys have seen the first Spider-Man, not the first Spider-Man, the one with Far From Home. That one I thought in 2019 or 2020.
So in Europe, where he goes to Europe?
Yeah, I thought that one started out pretty slow, but then it became one of the most epic like ends I've ever seen in a movie. It was insane.
So
like
I agree.
The drones and all that stuff. I was like, from when he had like him in that like realm where he couldn't see, that was just where he got hit by the train. It was just like, I was like, we watched it in this crazy theater where it's so loud, but that was one of the most epic things. Hey, Love Face is back.
I would love to test Atmos on that. Now that you mentioned it, I would love to see Atmos on that. And that actually, that was a pretty good one. I think the Spider-Man series as a whole has been pretty great. Hey, good question. Follow-up question here. FOMO, you said QN90A is better value over QN90B. How about the better value because today's today it's hugely discounted over the QN90B, which will be released at MSRP. That's what I meant, not MSRP to MSRP. How about the QN90A versus X95K? So that is going to be hard to, well, okay, so the QN90A and QN90B are going to be very similar. QN90B allegedly has better specular highlights, fixing my complaint about the QN90A. The X95K, I have no idea how it's going to perform. Really, I'm going to focus on blooming because that's distracting. And if its blacks aren't as deep as the QN90A, like just barely lifted, but its specular highlights are even better than the QN90A, that would be the difference for me to go with this Sony, but we have to see. So this is one where we don't know, right? We've only seen the pre-production eyewitness testimonials from Rasmus on his Flat Panels HD article. It's exciting to see that the X95K is designed to take on the QN90A 90B, but then you're paying a premium though. We expect it to be pretty expensive, possibly more expensive than the QN90B. Keep that in mind. And so for that price, it better be as good, if not better, than the Q90B. Planning to buy a 75-inch in September, October, just in time for the early deals, Black Friday. Good timing, so we'll be on it. Oh, wait, they raised it up another level. It's now online strips without clothing. He's like, bad English promotions, online strips without clothing.
I mean, I love this because people can't see the comments anymore, but we can see it on our side. It's like there's only like 200 people here. Like, why are they trying to spam us? Like, these 200 people do not care about like these,
you know what they're doing?
Online strips.
They're looking at my demographic or our demographic, right? Oh, 99.9% men. They must be interested.
They're definitely going to ditch these two guys talking about TVs for some,
right?
You know, porn or whatever.
Oh
yeah.
Look at this. Our good friend.
I know.
David,
I was going to say him. What's up?
Hey, David.
Pick a TV, man. David. No, I'm just kidding.
What's up?
We've been talking about the 8K Samsung and yeah. So, anyways, I know.
Hey,
listen.
Winning.
I'm hotter on Samsung today than I've been in a while. I did a QN90A 85-inch. Now I got a 75-inch 8K. So hey, you know, Dolby Vision or not, you know, they're bright TVs. It's tough, man, tough.
Yep. Hey, didn't you love Ozark? I caught a few episodes, but is this
absolutely you should start binging. Oh, it's fantastic. Right? Ozark's great. Especially if you're a fan of what's his name? Marty is
what's his Jason?
I forget. Yeah, Jason Bateman. Is that right?
Jason Bateman. That's it.
Jason Bateman. If you're a fan of Jason Bateman,
I am.
Awesome. And some of the side characters, some of the supporting cast is great too. And it's interesting to like put yourself in the position of this family. It's like, what would you do? It's easy to say like you wouldn't commit crimes and this and that, but it's like totally about like the mafia and cartel. So I don't know what you think Ozark's about, but it's about like the Mexican drug cartel and its effect in America. But no, I'm on the 4th season and I'm like halfway through, and it's just to the point where it's getting crazy. So I don't want to give any more than that, but you know, each season builds, and I think the 4th season is doing even better than the 3rd season, which I thought the 3rd season was kind of like, okay, it's kind of going into like exploratory territory, but now I think the 4th season's like back on track. It's like pretty good. So it's all good.
I couldn't get into it because I was in my fantasy stage watching these things. So I'm watching these weird, like, was it Something in Bones, where it's all these fantasy series that are coming out on Prime Video, like Wheel of Time or Netflix. So I'm catching those.
That's cool.
And now I'm in the mood for that. I can't watch real type of shows anymore. I'm looking for the next thing with a dragon and a sword.
No, that's cool. I want to watch, like, what is there Highlander? Is that one of those shows?
Or, Highlander would be considered one of those.
Or The Witcher.
The Witcher, yes. That's another one I love. That was out last year. They took a hiatus. But yeah,
I think it's got The Witcher. I think has some people that is that the one that's got Superman? Henry Cavill. Yeah, that's the one that I wanted to just check out. I have no idea if they're any good.
It's a good one to binge.
So that's what I want to get on some of those things too. Yeah. And I was actually a big fan of the Umbrella Academy. That was kind of cool.
Love that one. That's another one I like.
But it's only had one season or two seasons. I thought there'd be a new one by now, but it hasn't come out yet.
I think
And
it's
it doesn't
on.
say it's coming.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
on some other ones, like I know that the Ozarks just came out and the Peaky Blinders came out, and then my wife wants to watch Bridgertons, so that's coming
I,
out. So
I thought that was okay. Yeah.
oh no, it's fine. I have no problem with it. Like it's always okay to like take a different genre for like here and
Mhm.
there and watch different stuff. It was interesting.
Hey, let's get this question real quick. So ask your questions now. We're gonna wrap it up soon, guys. Hi, XRE Fanman Tube. Sorry if you covered already. Do you think the X90K will be the same as X95J minus anti-glare coating and build quality? So, don't know about the anti-glare coating or the build quality, but the X90K sounds like it's the X95J. How are they going to save money and cut corners, or will they? Other than the remote control, which we know will be slightly different, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Do you have an interest in reviewing the X90K next year? They're one step below X95K, Brandon.
Well, I mean, I've had a couple years in a row now. I've tried to like do the whole X90J or X900H versus the next one up, and I typically don't find much benefit to doing it. 2 years ago, it was the only one with 4K at
Yep.
120, which really
Yep.
was like barely had it.
Barely,
Um,
not real,
right?
right?
It didn't
Fake,
really have it.
fake
But
120,
no, I
4K
mean, I
120.
think we all can expect similar things. It's like, okay, it's going to be less expensive and it's going to be a few features short. But primarily, people, our majority of our audience wants to see typically like the best TVs. So it's
Yeah.
kind of tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'll maybe do it if I can, but you have to kind of get eyes on it to give these kind of comparisons, like right here, where we're going to talk
Right.
about like the size versus the price versus that. So
Hey,
maybe,
buddy, you're frozen again. I mean, I hear you, but your face is frozen.
yeah, that's okay. No one needs. I mean, that's a pretty
Yeah,
funny
no one's
face
there.
I got on there, but I'll just refresh it again. I think the kids are all playing video games right now. I'll be right back.
All right. Hey, Chris, thanks for the super chat. Let me pop this up so you can see me a little bit better. Okay. 75-inch X95J versus 65-inch X95K versus the 65-inch G1 wall mount. X95J 75-inch and G1 65-inch are both near 2400 right now. So if you have a brighter room, I go with the 75-inch X95J because of the larger size, but in a slightly darker room and your distance also may make a difference how far you're sitting away. The X95K I'm going to leave out for now because that is going to be an expensive TV. It won't be close to 2400 at launch, I don't believe. So if you are considering X95K and hoping to get it for 2400, this ends up being a choice later in the year, but will the 65-inch G1 still be available? And the 75-inch X95J may not be available later in the year either, because by that time, the larger Sonys normally are the first to go, 85 and 75-inch size X95J. So the question for you is, what is your current TV? If it is an older TV that is not even close to any of these TV, I'd go with the largest, cheaper TV. In this case, the X95J, because you're going to notice this huge picture quality improvement, and you don't know what you're missing because you don't have an OLED in the room. So that's kind of like
Yeah.
how I like to work around it. What do you think?
I don't know. I think you covered it. I
Yeah,
was kind
yeah.
of looking
Okay,
at this.
let me
I
go
was looking at this
through.
comment here because it made me think. Sorry,
No, you're
that's
not on that one.
that's
Yeah.
the show that I was thinking of, like the absolute one I need to watch and that I'm excited for. No question. Right now, to me, the best show on TV is Stranger Things. My favorite.
Yeah.
And there was some parts of the third season that weren't awesome, perfect, whatever. I think all 3 seasons have been just fine though. So love it. Anyways, that was that. Sorry.
Was season 3 the last one? That was
I
a year and a half ago, right? That was the
I
concluding one, right?
I think it was the last one. Yeah,
Yeah,
with like
yeah.
I think they were all good though. But yeah, I think that was the third.
I jumped into season 3, skipping 1 and 2. I mean, I watched all the summaries of 1 and 2 just so I could start watching 3 because I was just too impatient to binge from
Oh,
1
dude, you got to
to
go
2.
back.
Gonna
They're
go
they're
back?
too
All
good.
right.
Oh my
All
gosh,
right.
they're all good. Oh, it's worth it. And maybe just later you can do it because you'll forget like the
Yeah,
background. But no, they all have their own kind of theme.
yeah.
So each season's different.
I think this is a great comment. Like, so I'm going to give it some context. Why are people so excited about the Master Drive backlight? It is not the same tech as before. It even has way less zones than QN90. It's just marketing fluff. So here's the thing. It is true that backlight Master Drive doesn't bring anything new to the table. Samsung's already done mini LED with lots of dimming zones. What people are excited about is Sony, for the first time, is matching its amazing processing and dimming zones. We know what Sony could do with 60 dimming zones, right? The X95J with only 60 dimming zones looked pretty awesome. And people always ask, okay, Sony, if you took those 60 dimming zones, made it close to 400, added mini LED, what would it look like? That's the excitement. It's not so much that Sony's doing anything groundbreaking, but rather its XR processor was pretty phenomenal on only 60 dimming zones. What if you had mini LED and 380 dimming zones and a 65-inch to play with? And I think for Sony fans, to them, this could be it. But we'll have to see if they could actually make it better than Samsung QN90B, because Samsung's polishing the 90A in the 90B to address some of the weaknesses of the 90A. First generation mini LED from Sony. Can they do it? Some are telling me that they predict maybe 2 or 3 years from now, Sony will get it down because they don't think the first year will be perfect. And I tend to agree. It's hard for you to get it right the first year on a technology that you're not used to playing with. But we'll see. I'm excited about it nevertheless. Oh, look, here we go. Dude, season 4 comes out in July.
It's coming out. To that earlier comment for Chris Bradley, I think he said, will it wall mount it? So I feel bad I didn't mention
where's that?
Yeah. It's right here. That's just, these are all tough calls, man. I mean, if you have the space, we all think that getting like a 75-inch is awesome. But that's like a personal preference. I mean, do you have room for that 75? I mean, the G1 is going to look amazing at that size and price. I think the G1 would be far and away the best wall-mounted TV. So just wanted to offer that. And then I had one other comment. Someone had asked a couple times about the QD-OLED not having HDMI 2.1.
This one? I just saw this. Yes.
So it's going to have the display port. So that doesn't. So it's not meant to be like for game consoles.
Right.
They admitted that at Samsung when we talked to them. They said that it's not 2.1. It's only two 2.0s and then a display port or something. So maybe
the display port with the compression enabled on the right GPU, you will get 4K 120. So this is designed for gamers with the high-end GPUs on DisplayPort. You'll get all the bandwidth you need to do that. The issue is for TV owners, like you said, with that next-gen console, don't get an Alienware monitor for that. HDMI 2.1 really is designed for TVs, but this is considered a high-end gaming monitor, which DisplayPort is what most gamers prefer anyway. So, I think they got the right market. Now, if it wasn't on the Samsung QD-OLED TV, that would be a problem. But on a monitor, not so much.
Cool. I think it's probably right. I probably need to get going.
All right, guys.
I appreciate everyone being on here. Thank you, guys. You're the best, everyone. Hit the like button, hit
the like button before we go. And
comments.
This is the last question. I will take it because I think it's a great question for all you to save money. Thanks, Snoots. Do you have a fairly safe prediction on the launch price of the 77-inch G2? My prediction is, what is the G1 right now? Like 3,400 or something like that?
I think you had 3,300 on your list, something like that.
Oh, yeah. Let's pull it up. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Currently, it is at 3,400, around there, right?
3,400. There you go.
Okay. So $4,000. It's got to be just above 4,000 for the 77-inch G2. That's my prediction because
wasn't it? I thought it was like, wasn't it like it was 4,500 last year for the G1?
Yep. So 4,500. So 5,000 maybe. What do you think?
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. I just meant like
no.
I was thinking while I was talking about it, and I remembered it was like So anyway, sorry.
So let's say 5,000. 5,000. If you guys save 5,000,
heat sink, right?
It has a heat sink, but the Sony 83-inch is 6,000. That's what I'm talking about. So
it's got to be between those. Yeah, it's going to probably end up being closer to your 4,500 or whatever. 40,
so keep in mind,
4,000.
Currently the 83-inch A90J is 6,000. It has to be less than that, so it'll be so maybe just above 5,000, right? That sounds good. Something like that. Is that enough for you guys? Is that too expensive? Let us know. Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for being here, and of course, you're frozen. So before we go,
it's all good, man.
Don't forget to pass reload.
I got the peace signs up, even though you can't see it. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Have a good weekend. Bye, y'all.